Now at 4, not one, but 2 Indiana sheriffs charged from alleged false informing and statements. We're hearing from the prosecutor about the ongoing investigation.
Also inside an Indiana ICE facility, we have the first-hand account from a senator after meeting privately with detainees there. Rob?
And some showers to the north may bring some slightly cooler conditions as we get into tomorrow. We'll talk about the chance of showers and how much lower the numbers will go.
2 Indiana sheriffs and a sheriff's wife are facing official misconduct charges and several other charges.
That's right. The Clinton County sheriff and his wife, who's a jail matron in Clinton County, now are facing felony charges related to this alleged misappropriation of funds from the State Police Pension Trust. Our Brandon Schaff talked with the president of the Clinton County Commissioners today, who now is calling for action.
While Clinton County Sheriff Richard Kelly's wife, Ashley, was receiving disability payments through ISP, she was supposed to be moved to a back office role. According to Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears, an investigation found she was allegedly still having contact with inmates, involved with police investigations, and exerting herself on and off duty. Kelly was responsible for telling ISP what she was doing while at work.
If she was truly unable to perform those tasks and duties, she wouldn't be able to be doing the things that she was doing in her current role in the Clinton County Sheriff's Office, which is why both individuals ended up being charged. Mears'
office also charged Du Bois County Sheriff Tom Kleinhelter for what he told investigators during a 2024 probe into how commissary money was being spent.
During the course of the state police investigation, the allegation here is that when the sheriff was directly asked and confronted with some of these expenditures, that the information that he gave was not truthful.
Clinton County commissioners are calling for the immediate resignation of Richard and Ashley Kelly.
It's disheartening for our community that we continue to get a black eye because of these individuals. And it's disheartening that we have a lot of good people in law enforcement and they continue to give law enforcement a bad eye.
Brewer says Kelly previously allegedly misused more than $200,000 in commissary funds, and he and his wife now face 7 total charges.
When you have individuals who step outside of the lines of what is permissible, it's important that there is some level of accountability, because we need to send a message to the public that regardless of who you are, that you have to follow the law.
Brandon Schaff, 13 News.
And an Indianapolis man was arrested today on a preliminary charge of possession of child sexual abuse material. IMPD says the 32-year-old's arrest was linked to vigilante gathered information from a man who posed as an underage girl. The vigilante then informed police he believed the man had child sexual abuse material. The suspect agreed to meet detectives and allowed them to search his phone. That's when detectives say they found child sexual abuse material. The man has not been formally charged, which is why we have not released his name. Turning to the south side, where IMPD got into a shootout with the suspect, that alleged shooter was seriously hurt in the exchange. This happened around 8 last night on Sumner Avenue near Harding Street. The call first came in as a man grazed in the neck by a bullet. When officers got to the scene, someone shot at them from an apartment window. That's when officers returned fire. SWAT was also called to the area. Police were able to get 2 kids and 2 adults out of the home before finding the alleged suspect shot. No officers were hit, and coming up at 5, we're going to hear from a neighbor who shared video of the moment police rushed in to the suspect's home.
A week after a second ICE detainee died here in Indiana, an Indiana congressman now is calling on ICE to end its operations here in our state. 13 News reporter Emily Longnecker talked today with Congressman Andre Carson after he toured the Miami Correctional Facility. This is where ICE detainees have been housed since last October. Here's what Carson had to say.
Well, Congressman Andre Carson has been outspoken all along about being against ICE detainees being held here at the Miami Correctional Facility. He repeated that sentiment today, calling on ICE detentions to end here in Indiana. He also called for an independent investigation into those 2 detainees that have died at this facility in the past month and a half. Carson joined members of Indiana's clergy outside the Miami Correctional Facility after touring it with his staff this morning. Carson said he met with 2 detainees privately who spoke about not having timely access to medications, clean clothes, and inconsistent meal times. Carson also thanked the staff at the facility.
We commend them for making accommodations for us and taking us around. But what the detainees told us in many instances was quite heartbreaking. In fact, they highlighted the fact that ICE doesn't even come here regularly. If twice a month is a rare occurrence.
Carson said one of the detainees reported not having a haircut in 6 months. And many of the people that you see behind me, many of them Indiana clergy and Indiana faithful, they come here actually once a month to hold prayer vigils, praying for the ICE detainees inside. Coming up tonight at 5, we'll hear from some of them as well as hear more about the congressman's visit inside that facility today. At the Miami Correctional Facility, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
And if you look outside today, you most likely did see some sunshine, and you also experienced some warmer temperatures and probably a whole lot of wind.
That's right. We could see Emily's hair blowing there, and I was out at a shoot earlier today outside, and it was like, okay, wait, here's the wind. No, wait. I mean, you're just
tough.
eating your hair. 75 degrees right now. Really a pleasant day out there.
Very nice. Did kind of feel the truck move a little bit as I was driving today. The wind was kind of pushing along. The winds are certainly gusty, but it's one of the reasons why we got so warm today. It was helping the temperatures to warm up. And yeah, we're in the mid 70s, depending on where you are. For the most part, you can see those strong southwest winds. That accompanied with the sunshine is the reason we were able to warm up so nicely today. Feels very comfortable. And overall, it's been relatively sunny. There have been a couple of very light showers farther to the north. Now, there is a boundary sitting right here. You can make it out very simply in the satellite and radar. That is the dividing line between the warmer temperatures that we're dealing with right now and some slightly cooler air. Now, this is eventually going to sag back down to the south for the course of the day on Friday and even into the early part of Saturday. That'll keep our temperatures just a little bit cooler for tomorrow compared to what they are right now, 70s and even some 80s showing up like it is right now in St. Louis. So that's part of our forecast. But in the short term, partly cloudy skies expected for tonight, temperatures into the mid 50s. I think we're going to see a much milder overnight, especially as those clouds continue to filter back in. We'll do 50s for lows. And then looking ahead, we expect tomorrow to have a good chance that we'll see a lot more cloud cover. It's certainly not going to be quite as warm, but to be honest, not too far off from where we should be. And yes, there is a chance for some scattered showers in the forecast. I'm going to walk you through that. I'll show you a future track. We'll talk about the weekend forecast as well, which if you have outdoor plans, I think you're going to like coming up.
A fragile ceasefire in the Iran war was barely holding today under the weight of Israel's bombardment of Beirut, Tehran's continued chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz, and uncertainty over whether talks expected on Saturday can find common ground. All of those things. NBC's Matt Bradley reports from Tel Aviv.
Well, it's day 2 of that ceasefire, and I'm here on the beach in Tel Aviv where folks are out enjoying the sun, celebrating a ceasefire that they hope will spare them from the repeated airstrikes that we've been seeing over the past couple of weeks. But those attacks are continuing. Hezbollah has launched more missiles from southern Lebanon into northern Israel just this morning, and Israel's blistering attacks against Hezbollah in Lebanon are continuing. At least 10 people were killed just this morning alone, according to Lebanese health officials. And now we're seeing more than 1,500 people have been killed since the fighting began in southern Lebanon. Yesterday, Israel said they launched their most powerful strikes yet against what they said were Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon, Beirut, and the eastern Bekaa Valley. That has resulted in many, many deaths and a huge exodus of people fleeing from southern Lebanon. But this fighting in Lebanon is really the biggest risk to this tenuous ceasefire that is now halting the guns over here in Israel. The problem is that the Iranians have said that as long as Israel continues to attack Lebanon, they're going to keep the Strait of Hormuz shut. All of this as we're seeing J.D. Vance and other American diplomats headed to Pakistan to try to negotiate a resolution to this continuing conflict and to make this ceasefire more permanent. Right now, the main risk is that the ceasefire won't exist at all. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
Well, coming up, the husband arrested in the case of a missing woman in the Bahamas. The questions now being raised by her daughter.
Early voting has begun, but one voter who became a citizen a few years ago ran into some difficulty. We'll tell you what happened.
Automatically registered for the U.S. military, the plan that could be implemented by the end of this year.